Okay, so let's put the other side of the motor and the wheel to the car. So we go to Assemble and select the part and select the T-bracket open, and we want to first move this closer to the location where we want to put it, and we want to rotate like that. And move it closer. Okay. So we want to set the three constraint. So the first, go to placement. The first constraint, we want to constrain this side of the T-bracket with that side of the chassis. Coincident. Okay. We add the second constraint and we select second constraint. We constrain in the upside down direction. Okay, we want to constrain this face to the top face of the chassis. Top face of the chassis. Set that to coincident. Okay. The third constraint, we want to constrain in the inside and outside direction. Okay. So we add a new constraint. We want to constrain this face of the T-bracket with that face of the chassis. Set that to coincident. Okay. 40 constraint. Okay. We want to put another piece of the T-bracket there. So let's bring in another T-bracket open. We want to first move to the correct location. And we want to set three constraints in three perpendicular directions. Okay, so go to placement. The first constraint, we want to constrain this face of the T-bracket with that face of the chassis. Set that to coincident. No distance, or distance equal to 0. Second constraint, we want to constrain up and down. We want to constrain this face with the top face of the chassis. Okay, this face. Set that to coincident or distance equal to 0. We added the third constraint in the forward backward direction. So go to new constraint, select, we want to constrain this face of the T bracket with that face of the slot, this face, and set that to coincident, no distance. Okay, 40 constraint. Okay, so now we can take a look. We want to next put the motor in, okay, between these two T bracket. So go to assemble and select the motor, the gear motor. Open. We want to first move to the right location. The longer side is okay, this side, okay, so that's fine. We want to constrain the hole. Okay, so let's go to placement. The first constraint, we want to constrain this hole of the gear motor with the hole of the T bracket. This hole. No, let's pick a different hole because this is a slotted hole. So we want to use the bottom hole. Okay, so let's constrain the bottom hole of the motor with the bottom hole of the T bracket. So this hole, and make that coincident. The next constraint, we add a new constraint, constrain this face, the flat face of the motor with the flat face of this T bracket, and make that coincident. Okay, so now it's a 40 constraint and it's placed in the correct location. We want to put the board, the controller board. So go to assemble, controller board, motor controller. Open, and we want to put the motor controller using 3 constraints. Okay, we want to add the constraint. First constraint, we want to match the bottom of the controller with the top of the chassis. Set the coincident. We can move that in the other 2 directions. Let's just put it there without setting the exact